and welcome to the Future of Britain Conference 2022, all thanks to the Tony Blair Institute, My Life, My Say and the Britain Project. My name is Swazy, I'll be your behind the scenes host, getting all the backstage goss with special guests, your fellow attendees and asking some huge questions like what does the future of Britain look like, especially when it comes down to young people. For the Future of Britain 2022, what do you think that looks like for young people in particular?
I think it's all about recognising that this is the moment for them to get involved and to start influencing the people in positions of power. The people from my generation, who are the policymakers, are in a different room from the younger generation, who are the change makers, and you've got to get them together.
And in terms of the future of Britain then and the climate crisis, what are you hoping to get out of this conference altogether?
I would love to influence UK climate policy so they are much more ambitious about scaling renewables, getting us truly to net zero, by the 2030s, and showing the rest of the world how it's done. Because we're a small country, we're only 1% of global emissions, but we can role model good policy.
And so for so many young people, we're asking, what does the future of Britain look like for us? Any thoughts for young people?
Well, I think one of the things we've really got to sort out is the housing market. I simply don't see that we can exclude young people in the way we are from the opportunity to own their own home, to give confidence to them, to give them security in the future and security for their families.
Why are young people so important in the conversation?
I think young people are the future. It's not going to be my generation that's going to ultimately decide whether we solve the problem of climate change. So I think young people need to prepare themselves to make positive contributions to creating a better world.
You just said about we can't afford to wait another 10 years and have no change happen in between. So after today's conference, after all of the conversations, what are you hoping is going to change? What are you hoping is going to happen?
The people who have benefited and privileged from this current system of power are not going to be the first to disrupt themselves. So we need that disruption by way of people in the streets, by way of young people choosing not to sit on the sidelines, but really taking ownership of our future. And we need those few allies within existing spaces of power to invite young people into the equation and to ensure that we're not being excluded from the very decisions that are ultimately affecting our shared future.
So if I could cast your mind back to when you were a young person, what did you get really excited about that is real today?
I got excited about how artificial intelligence can be a window into understanding our own intelligence, and that's exactly what happened. I think AI ended up showing us it can do all these things, but as a human, I now believe that AI can do these things, so I don't have to do them. So what being human must be about something bigger and something more.
If you were under 30, which you don't look a day ahead of, by the way, but what 3 things would you be doing today?
If you're saving for a property, make sure your money is either in a Help to Buy ISA or a Lifetime ISA that give you a 25% boost on top. Second thing I would be looking at is absolutely being very, very careful about all forms of debt.
How did you get into the job that you're doing now?
My specialism's in China. How do you engage with 1.4 billion people there? How do you find a strategy that's good for Britain, but also is exciting and is more than just separating the world into friends and villains, which I think is something we're doing in a lot of foreign policy conversations.
Why is a conference like today so important?
Because this conference is about the future, and whereas most politicians are thinking about the next election, we've got to be thinking about the next century. Social care, climate change, the future of our education, technological change. These are big, big issues, and we've got to think far and we've got to think deep.
There was a comment around the VR boxes being strange and weird and lots of people laughing about that, but for young people it's no, we're fully immersed in that and we're very much on the ball with these things. So what do you think that says to maybe a generational shift in technology, and what does that then mean for politics?
When you think about virtual reality, what if you and I could change headsets for a day? I would love to have a generational swap where those who aren't as familiar with virtual environments can be immersed, and similarly those who maybe haven't had the lived experience of others, particularly if they haven't had access to the same skills and capability. Often with our Teach First schools, if you expose young people to new opportunities, they instantly understand them. And so I think there are some gaps in understanding what's already happening in the technological universe.
And that's all we have time for today. Thank you so much for getting involved. Thank you so much for coming down. A massive thank you to all of our special guests and speakers. There's a lot of big conversations happening and a lot of work to do. So until next time, we'll see you soon.